To today's meditation time. I am honored that you are going to spend these few minutes with me, and I hope that you have found a place in your home as you are getting comfortable where maybe the distractions are less than they are during the normal day, and you can just find some comfort and some stillness wherever you are. And so as you are in that space where you are and I'm in this space where I am, let's just start to breathe together, allowing ourselves to calm and to settle and just really to come into this present moment. So as your eyes gently close, let's take a long, slow breath in. And then exhale, let it go. And another long, slow breath in. And let it go. One more like that, breathing in and breathing out. And then just continue with the rhythm that feels right for you. Our goal in meditation is that we just find a nice rhythm of a balanced length of the inhale with that balanced length of the exhale. There's not a magical amount or number to count to. It's just so that it feels right for you, so that there's a calm and an ease as you breathe. And so we've been on this journey these last few times together, and whether you've been here for those does not matter. Each night just kind of stands on its own. But we've been on this journey of looking at these moral precepts of what yoga has given us from so many thousands of years ago, and looking to see how they're still relevant in our lives today. You know, our meditation practice is just that. It is a practice of showing up, a practice of coming to this present moment, and a practice of allowing our mind to become a little more still, a little more quiet, and a little more at ease. But at the same time, a little more aware. Not aware that we feel like we're on this alert in this frenzy of the noisy world, but rather this awareness of knowing who we are. And so this moral precept for today is this Sanskrit word called Asteya. A-S-T-E-Y-A, Asteya. And if you translate it, it literally means not stealing. And kind of like that time a few days ago when we learned about the one that was not harming or not causing violence, our first thought is, check, I've got that one. I was raised well. I know not to steal. I know not to take things that don't belong to me. But that is just one tiny part of what this precept or this idea in yoga means. There's a Native American expression that many of us have heard, I'm sure, over the years. It says, you should make decisions about the earth and about nature and about the land as if those decisions would matter 7 generations from now. And so when the Native American proverb says that, it's talking about things like our cars and this footprint that we put on the earth by the amount of time that we spend in a car driving from place to place. It's also talking about this idea of recycling and composting and our effects of just daily living on the amount of things that are in the landfill. And so the idea behind the Native American statement is saying, don't steal from the earth for those that are still coming in the future. Make sure the earth has been taken care of in a way that your children and your grandchildren and their grandchildren will have the same beautiful nature that you and I get to have today. And so that's one way of looking at Asteya, of this idea of not stealing. But I want to take it to an even more personal level for me and you. And so I'd like for you just to think, where you are seated, you are breathing, you are comfortable. What if the decisions that you make today, tomorrow, what if the places that you direct your energy today and tomorrow, and what if the emotions that you attach to those decisions today and tomorrow, what if they mattered 7 days from now? So not even thinking like the Native Americans, 7 generations into a time that we can't even imagine. But y'all, what if every decision that we make now every use of our energy, every emotion that we feel, what if we thought about them as if they would matter in the next 7 days? It's a pretty short time period. We can think about 7 days. We can imagine that. And so the emotions that I felt today, maybe I felt frustration. And then how did it cause me to act? Is that going to have an effect on my life in the next 7 days? What if the emotion of anger and then whatever effect that it caused in me, is it going to have an impact on my life in the next 7 days? What about my emotion of sadness and sorrow? And again, how it causes me to be, how will it then affect me and impact my life in the next 7 days? And none of those emotions are bad. Each emotion has value and it needs to be felt. But there's an impact in what we allow that emotion to then cause us to do or not to do. Just like this idea of the Native Americans asking us to think about how much we're driving in a car and the footprint that it leaves on the earth, or how much we are or we aren't recycling and composting, and how much that then fills or doesn't fill our landfills. Our lives, our spiritual lives, our emotional lives, our mental lives are just like those ideas that the Native Americans gave us. The decisions that we make today are going to have a footprint in the days to come. And wouldn't it be an amazing thing to be 7 days out from now and think, I felt anger on Tuesday. I felt it. I acknowledged it. I identified it. But it didn't cause me to act in the ways that it used to. And now 7 days later, there's not a negative impact of that anger from Tuesday. My frustration. Y'all, we feel frustration every day. We feel annoyance at just tiny, small things. And those are valid emotions. Feeling frustrated. There's been a response within you, and you need to feel it and identify it and own it. But then, will the decisions that frustration causes you to make, will there be an impact in 7 days? Will we look up a week later and realize, that frustration from Tuesday, it robbed me of so many moments of joy, of happiness, of kindness, because I couldn't let it go? That's when our hearts, our spirits, our minds become just like that landfill. How much are we going to fill it up with stuff that doesn't belong there? Or how much are we going to recycle and compost things and use them for good? That is when you can really say you're practicing this idea of Asteya. I don't want to rob next week's joy by letting today's anger fester. I don't want to steal next week's peace by letting today's frustrations linger and cause me to feel a certain way. Again, we need to feel the feelings. We need to own the emotions. But we need to begin to pause and think, what's the impact of this? What's it causing me to do? How's it causing me to act? And then just pause and think about that. Because I want to live and uphold all these moral disciplines that yoga has taught us. I don't want to rob my future grandchildren and great-grandchildren from the beauty of nature on our earth any more than I want to rob me of the peace I'm working so hard to create every single day. I know it gets very personal, and it was a lot easier to check a box and just say, I don't steal. I don't take things that don't belong to me. But when we we turn that idea back to ourselves, it gets really real, really fast. And so what I'd like us to do across the next couple of minutes of quiet is, number one, don't beat ourselves up. Don't regret. Don't be disappointed in whatever's happened before this moment. But in these next couple of moments of quiet, I would encourage you, and I'm going to do the exact same thing myself. I would encourage you to just think, which emotional responses do I have that tend to rob me of joy and peace and ease and calm? And they're going to be different for each of us. Mine is impatience. And I know that about myself. And I let the silliest, smallest things cause my impatience to just ramp up. And as soon as I feel this physical sensation of what impatience does to me, I have two choices. I move on, or I let it fester. I move on and I experience peace and joy, or I let it fester and I rob myself of the peace that I'm working toward. So just ask yourself across these next couple of minutes, which ones are the ones that you need to be careful of? Anger, frustration, sorrow, intolerance, impatience. We still need to feel them because something inside of us is causing a reaction. But let's just pause and think, how can I be a bit more intentional about what I do with that emotional response? All our meditation practice is awareness. So now let's just sit and breathe and see what awareness is revealed for you and for me. Let's take a long, slow, deep breath in together. And gently sigh it out. One more long, slow breath in. And sigh it out. Just continue to sit with your eyes closed just a bit longer. Whatever was revealed to you, whatever you became aware of in those couple of minutes, I want to frame it one more way before we close. I shared a song in a class that I taught last night. A song that just repeats again and again this idea of you can't rush your healing. It's a process, you can't rush it. And while you're going through healing, sometimes things feel dark. And the lesson in that song tells us that sometimes the darkness has some teachings. And we just have to be ready to learn. The same thing goes with this idea of Asteya. We tend to turn the mirror and look at ourselves. And in that, sometimes it feels a little dark. It feels a little vulnerable because it's getting deep down to the core of who we are. But rather than shying away and not looking and not being aware, let's just be open in the coming days and see what the lessons are. I know my lesson is about impatience. I struggle with it every single day. But I keep turning that mirror, looking at myself and realizing there's a lesson in here for me. And I don't want to rob myself of the peace that I worked so hard to cultivate. And then I get up the next day and I try again, and somewhere along the day, impatience bubbles up. So let your practice tonight keep you aware of whichever thing, whichever emotional response is the one that you need to be aware of. And don't let it rob you of the joy and the peace that's going to come in the next 7 days any more than you'd rob these precious children and grandchildren on this earth from having the beauty of nature that we get to experience now. Asteya. Let's make it about us and not rob ourselves of the peace and the calm and the joy. Namaste.